Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today is Best of One Day. So what are we celebrating with on this particular event of the day? We're going to be playing some Mardu Aristocrats. So this is built around the strategy of letting things die and benefiting from them. So we've got a few new pieces in War of the Spark to enable us to do this. We've got Cruel Celebrant, which is one of the main ones. Not for this deck in particular, but as far as Aristocrats go, it is definitely one of them. White and a black for a 1-2. When Cruel Celebrant or another creature or planeswalker you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So we want things to die so that we can gain life and drain our opponent. That's basically the idea. And we get our opponent's life total down to a low enough point where all of those drain triggers really start to matter. We also have Mayhem Devil as well, as a 1 black and a red 3/3. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, Mayhem Devil deals 1 damage to any target. So we're going to be leveraging sacrifice, which is as good as dying in this particular case, because most of our ways of killing our creatures are through sacrifice-based effects. Things like Priest of the Forgotten Gods is our main one. 1 and a black for a 1-2. You can sacrifice 2 other creatures and any number of target players, just our opponent, lose 2 life, and sacrifice a creature, and you add 1 black mana, and you draw a card. So when we sacrifice 2 creatures, and this is a turbo combo with Priest of the Forgotten Gods, when we sacrifice 2 creatures with a Mayhem Devil in play, as an example, then we get 2 triggers from our creatures dying. In addition to that, if we've got any other Aristocrat-style things as well, Celebrant or even Judith, then we get some additional triggers based off of those. We also have things that benefit from dying just on a baseline, so Footlight Fiend will generate as a trigger as well, so we can get that when it dies, deal 1 damage to any target. Addition to that. In addition to that as well, our opponent also has to sacrifice a creature. So we actually have Mayhem Devil trigger off of their creature dying as well. So we just start getting all of these 1/1 damage triggers left, right, and center. We can point them at any target as well, so we can use Mayhem Devil to clean up the board essentially, to allow the rest of our creatures to go right on through. Other creatures do include Gutterbones, which is a 2/1 for 1, which comes into play tapped. However, when we deal damage to our opponent, we can actually return this to our hand for 2 mana and play it for another 1. So it's basically a 3 mana 2/1 that is just repeatable and constant and basically fuel for the priest for the most part. Also, Lazotep Reaver as well is a 2 mana 1/2 that amasses 1, so it's 2 bodies in 1, which is perfect for the priest here. Since we need 2 creatures to enable it, we need to have something in play prior to the priest or the turn after the priest in order to get the full value. So this little shell here is basically just to enable the priest and all of our sacrifice triggers. We also have Plaguecrafter as our removal choice. If the pings are not going to cut it, then we have some almost direct removal with the Plaguecrafter. It's a 3 mana 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. Each player who can't then discards a card. So we always get value from Plaguecrafter. It's a good way for us to actually deal with planeswalkers without having to run things like Angrath's Revenge, Fury thingy, or even Vraska's Contempt. We can just use Plaguecrafter as our way of dealing with planeswalkers, which is easy enough since we do have all of these 1 damage to any target triggers already being able to point themselves at the planeswalkers or at the creatures in order to have the Plaguecrafter trigger itself kill the planeswalker. Judith, we kind of mentioned as well, is another aristocrat. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, it deals 1 damage to any target, so pretty much the same as Mayhem Devil in that regard. We get to point some stuff left, right, and center for our opponent. It also gives our creatures +1/+0 as well, which gives us a very, very strong board off of basically any creature. We have like 1 mana 3/1s at that point, which is wonderful. Our card draw engines for the deck are Midnight Reaper as a 3 and a 1 for a 3/2. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to you and you draw a card. Now, the 1 damage is a bit of a problem, but because we're gaining life with the Cruel Celebrant, we can kind of negate that a little bit. In addition to that, we also have Sorin as well that says that your creatures and planeswalkers have lifelink. So when Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to you, because it's actually got lifelink, it deals 1 damage and we gain 1 life, actually. So it gets rid of the downside of the card draw effect here completely, which is wonderful. Also says that our Mayhem Devil triggers then actually generate as life as well as the Judith, so turns these guys basically into a Cruel Celebrant, which is wonderful. Sorin can also deal 1 damage himself as a +2. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it does enable the minus ability here, which is the primary reason, and basically 90% of the time we're going to be wanting to use Sorin is going to be for that minus. You get to return a target creature card with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature is a vampire in addition to its other types. Vampire, irrelevant. However, the minus X is pretty good for us, because as you can maybe tell, we actually only really have 1, 2, and 3 drops, which means Sorin is actually never really going to kill himself from that minus X to grab whatever we actually want from the graveyard. So if we want another Aristocrats effect, because maybe we've got all of these enablers but none of the engine pieces, Sorin can go find us that. You can also mine us to maybe give us the fuel that we need for our Priest of the Forgotten Gods, or maybe even get back our card draw engine. Sorin is just an absolute beast in this deck, and honestly I think that the deck wouldn't perform even nearly as well without him. Next we have God Eternal Bontu. It's a 2 copy in this deck. I'm not sure if we want 2 copies because we are quite low to the ground. I might honestly go down to maybe 1 copy with this card and then go up another Celebrant or something like that. Something low to the curve, which could maybe encourage me to cut another land out of our deck. We're currently running 22, so getting to the top end is a little bit difficult, but we do have a lot of card draw, as well as, obviously, incidental life gain along the way that can just buy us a lot of time. And Priest is also card draw as well, so pretty solid overall in that sense. We can always get up to, like, 5 or 6 mana reasonably consistently, but I don't know. Maybe 1 copy is enough as well, because of the God clause at the bottom there. Whenever it dies, you can put it 3rd from the top into your deck, so once you have it, you're never going to lose it. So it's basically the second one is always going to be a dead card. But we do kind of want to see this card a lot during our games, because if you combine it with Mayhem Devil, I should get into what it actually does first. It's a 5 mana 5/6 with Menace, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to sacrifice any number of other permanents, then draw that many cards. So it has basically the mass sacrifice that this deck could really use. If we have Mayhem Devil in play and Celebrants and things like that, for each creature we sacrifice, we're going to deal 1 damage and maybe gain 1 life with the Celebrant. So it's really super powerful there. We can also sacrifice lands as well. If we have too many of them, if we've been flooding out, then it's just another way that we can get some extra value there. And Mayhem Devil says whenever you sacrifice a permanent, so actually what God Eternal Bontu can do is just sacrifice your entire board if your entire board permanent count is equal to your opponent's life total. Then Mayhem Devil will deal all the triggers required to kill your opponent. It's a bit risky, but if you know your opponent can't really play around it with just some random life gain, then being able to just sack all of your lands, all of your creatures, all of your planeswalkers, and just deal a massive damage to your opponent, then it's pretty good. And worst case scenario, you're left with a 5/6 with Menace, which might be enough to close out the game anyway. Finally, we got Liliana Dreadhorde General. Again, another one-off, because we're kind of low on lands in this deck. But it is doable on the odd situation. We don't really want to see it until the late game, so we're only running 1 copy of it. It's a 6 mana, 6 loyalty planeswalker, and it says whenever a creature you control dies, draw a card. So again, we're actually benefiting from creatures dying, thanks to Liliana. She also generates us some creatures for us to sacrifice as well with her +1, making a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Her -4 is superb with Mayhem Devil, Celebrants, and Judiths, actually. -4, each player sacrifices 2 creatures, so we actually sacrifice ourselves. But as I mentioned, we are set up to actually benefit from that, in addition to Liliana also enabling that ability herself. So even if we don't have an Aristocrat in play, Liliana minusing 2 will actually trigger her own passive ability and draw us 2 cards anyway if we've got 2 creatures in play. In addition to that, our opponent also has to sacrifice creatures, so Mayhem Devil ends up triggering off of that. It's really solid, and if we can get up to a -9, we win the game. We probably win well before that happens, but -9, each opponent chooses a permanent they control of each permanent type and sacrifices the rest. The main thing to know on the -9 is your opponent only gets 1 land by the time that ends up going. So no matter what they're left with, there's a really good chance that they just can't come back from any board state you leave them with. They can have 1 creature, 1 planeswalker, but they've got 1 land, so if they lose that permanent, then they've basically got no threats and no defense, and you win. So, yep, that's essentially the deck. The mana base is pretty simple. We've got all of the shock and check lands for Mardu colors. 2 mountains, 3 swamps, and 1 plains. No sideboard for this one. We're going to be running it in the best of ones. I'm not sure, but maybe it could actually benefit a little bit from a best of 3 sideboard. Who knows? But without further ado, I'm going to get into the games and showcase this deck, and I hope you guys enjoy. And before we do that, if you'd be so kind as to like and subscribe as well, it helps out the channel a great deal. But yeah, let's get into the games. Alrighty then, we've got ourselves a Rakdos hand, but Rakdos cards, so yeah, cool, keep it. Need some white mana if we're gonna play our Sorins and whatnot, but that's a later me problem. Alright, let's probably shock in the Blood Crypt for the Gut Bones. Get nice and aggressive against our opponents, since we can go Reaver into Judith or pick up some pieces along the way with the Plague Crafter. Ooh, Liliana if we can get there would be nice. Might regret shocking myself if this is mono red, but we do have ways of gaining life with this deck. Pretty aggressively actually, so we can undo that 2 damage we've just done to ourselves if it really needs to be that way, because Sorin gives lifelink to all of your creatures, and our Cruel Celebrant as well drains for life as well. So plenty of ways to actually gain life with this deck. And honestly, a lot of our pinging from our creatures as well should keep the board clean for creatures, so I feel like we should have a reasonable mono-red matchup, actually. It's like something's getting shocked. Going after the Reaver, fair enough. I feel like I would have gone for the Gutter Bones there, honestly, because sure, I can get it back, but it's going to cost me 3 mana to do, and I've got better things to do in the early game than bring back a Gutter Bones. Ooh, there's Mayhem Devil. So we could do Mayhem Devil with the plan of setting up the sacrifice next turn. We can't really dictate what gets sacrificed though, this is the problem. But maybe it's the way to go. Alternatively, I could just go with the Plague Crafter plan and kill Steamkin, which is also real good. So many options here. If I played Judith, we get him for a good attack. He doesn't block, but Judith almost certainly dies. I think Mayhem Devil also almost certainly dies, though. But maybe he's less likely to die than Judith would be at 2 toughness. Let's try it. Alright, let's get swinging. If they want to chump, so be it. That works for me as well. Because I don't think they're going to be able to actually get the Steamkin to full power here. Yeah, just get Pyromancer, sure. So, pings us for 2. And we could either do Judith or Plague Crafter now. It would be Plague Crafter, sack the token. They would sack Pyromancer. We'd swing for 5, but also drain, actually ping for 2, so their board actually gets cleared off of a Plague Crafter. Yeah, so actually if the board's getting cleared, I should keep my token around that doesn't have Summoning Sickness, because I think it probably just works out more damage in the end. Kind of. We forfeit 1 point of attacking here to get a potential 3 the following turn. Maybe it's worth it. There's also Judith as well that doesn't actually ping from tokens, so killing the token in this manner will work out for me. So, sack, murder, empty board, swing for 5. And we made our opponent explode. Alright, mono red down. Yeah, I think we've got a pretty good mono red matchup actually. Sweet. Alrighty then, let's have a look-see. Yep, this hand looks great. We don't have a 2-drop, but our mana's sorted to get us to Judith and Midnight Reaper, and then Sorin, if anything dies, can reanimate the 3-drops, which is what I'm assuming is going to be the thing that dies here. But yeah, our mana base is awesome. Loving it. Alright, shocking the Godless Shrine for the Footlight Fiend. There's very few occasions where I don't shock myself for a turn 1 play, honestly. And we get a Reaver, which is very nice. Okay, so... I mean, we can get in with the Fiend. Just trades off with the Lava Runner. Fine with that. Yeah, I think they're not fine with that. Cool. And we get some stuff down to block the Lava Runner. Fanatical Firebrand, okay. Let's see if they go on attack. They go to shock off my Reaver, fair enough. And I'll offer the trade there. Keep my life total nice and high until I get down Sorin, which at that point will clean up quite nicely. And I think we go with the Midnight Reaper just to increase the odds that we draw a land if one of our creatures dies here. It's also a decent blocker for Lava Runner. So they only have a shock, so they're going to need an extra burn spell to get through, and going with the Gut Snipe stops that from happening. Alright, this is pretty sweet. So we can shock in for Sorin. Sorin gives lifelink to all of my creatures. I can then swing in for 4. Everything trades off here. Yep, so the Footlight Fiend will ping the Lava Runner. Just going to let it happen. We gain 4 life. And then we could either ping them for 1 and take Sorin up to 6, which I think he dies if we do that, or we can -2, which I think I'm going to do, to get back the Reavers.
I demand certitude.
There we go. We're at 19 with a decent board state. Next turn we get to go Judith and Gutterbones in the same turn, so we're really not fussed about Sorin dying here. Although, of course, would prefer that he didn't. Any creatures dying draws us cards. Good stuff. Also gives us options for Sorin as well to minus. So, yeah, this game is well and truly over. No chance my opponent wins this one in a million years. Alright. Ping our opponent. 1 to you. I gain 1.
What a mess I've made.
And Mono Red goes down again. Alright. Yeah, Sorin just ends games against Mono Red. Good stuff. Okay, let's have a look-see. This is a very expensive hand with only 2 mana in it. So our first play is Priest of the Forgotten Gods, which doesn't do anything because we haven't actually set up any of our cards. I'm not sold on this one. I think I'm going to mulligan it. This one's much better. We've got the turn 1 Gutterbones into Celebrant or Reaver. Yeah, maybe get the Mayhem Devil later down the line. Do I want another Celebrant? I feel like I want red mana, and I should probably dig towards that instead. So we'll put that to the bottom. And not mono red. Sweet. Well, we got a mountain, so that's good. Puts us on our Mayhem Devil turn 3. Just need a sacrifice outlet to make that work out. But 3/3/3, still pretty good. Is this Merfolk? I'd imagine it is. You don't see Woodland stream very much, except for in Merfolk budget lists, which it looks like we're up against. Alright. Oh my god, Midnight Reaper. So that's actually the better turn 3 play, because obviously we have nothing to enable Mayhem Devil with right now, so... yeah, let's just get down the Celebrant. Allows me to swing in with the Gutterbones. If they want to trade off, then we get to drain them, so damage is dealt regardless. And if they let this go, then every creature dying is now gonna draw us a card on the following turn, if it resolves, but Merfolk don't really have many creature counters. It's usually like spell pierces and things like that. And I don't think my opponent's even gonna hold up and counter magic. He's probably gonna go with that Mistbinder if I had to imagine. Mistbinder into... is Benthic Biomancer a one mana cast card, isn't it? Yeah, maybe Benthic Biomancer. Take the 3. We deal in life gain. So this could be a dive down or a spell pierce, none of which are going to actually do anything against us, so... Let's get the Midnight Reaper down, swing with the Gutter Bones. This gains me all sorts of value if it dies now, so really what we want is a sacrifice outlet. Tempted to block with the Midnight Reaper if they game with the Adept as well. It's a drain and a gain cards for me. Then again, I'm pretty set up to actually race my opponent here. So if I'm going to lose the Reaper, it's probably going to be on the attack. Charter Course for my opponent. Drawing 2. 3 possible mana this turn, I think. Another Gutter Bones. It's not the worst, actually, because that gives us Mayhem Devil plus Gutter Bones plays. Sure. I think I'll swing in like this. Happy to trade off a Mistbinder. They can't Merfolk Trickster us because they don't have the double blue. I suppose they could have the Pump Spell. Rival Herald's Boon. Yeah, sure. Fair enough. And we just get Judith, so this game's getting worse and worse for my opponent. Now we have some 3/1 Gutter Bones that when they die they ping and we drain. And it's all sorts of wrong for my opponent right now. If we get a land, we get to empty our hand. 5th land would be great for Bontu as well, because that will just win us the game. All of these triggers, Mayhem Devil, Judith, Celebrant, all these death triggers with Bontu is just going to be ridiculous. For each creature, they basically lose 3 life. Tap all my creatures. Alright, so they're alpha striking me. It's correct to do, actually, because if anything, this game is definitely a race. So we're at 7. We've got Celebrant. If they have another Tempest Caller, we're really dead, aren't we? Unfortunately. So I guess I've got to get aggressive. This won't kill Tempest Caller, neither will the Judith. Yeah, I would just have to dodge another Tempest Caller, I think. If they've got it, we lose. If they don't, we probably win. Because the following turn's going to force some blocks, which guarantees we gain some life off the Celebrants, as well as some pings. I think that should be enough to close out the game. Go down to 7. Alright, do you have it? I'm not sure what else they could have that would win them the game in the spot. Maybe like Might of the Masses if I don't block correctly. But I've got so many things to just block with that I'm happy to do it. Well, they've not turbo slammed... Oh, never mind. I was going to say they're not turbo slammed the Tempest Caller, so they probably don't have it, but they do. So, just took 9 hours to win. Cool. Turn away from victory there. It's a shame. I don't know if we could play that any better. -5. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we couldn't win that at all. But, yeah, fair enough. Okay, 2 isolated chapels, I think makes this hand unplayable. He's kind of close though. Yeah, I'm going to mulligan it. Sounds much better. Alright, we need a 3rd land, but other than that, sounds great. And there it is. Alright, so we can do Mountain Footlight Fiend, so we don't have to shock ourselves. We might as well. If we don't have to shock ourselves, then we shouldn't. It's like on turn 3, if I need this untapped, then I'll shock myself then, but... I mean, right now is just the perfect time for a Godless Shrine tapped anyway, right? The only reason to leave it untapped there is to pretend we have something like Lightning Strike. Which we don't need to pretend. Alright, so... let's do Judith, I guess. Might be Mayhem Devil, actually, I'm not sure. So, Esper Control, most likely. Oath of Kaya. Pings my Judith. Alright. So this it's a decent removal spell on its own. But the attacking planeswalkers, I'm hoping that I just don't ever have to bother doing that. And therefore the second half of Oath of Kaya is just not going to do anything. So the chances are that they're probably just going to Kaya's Wrath me, but I can't really not play into this. So I think I'll just go with the Reaver. Spread out my damage a little bit in case they've got no board wipe but single target removal. That looks like good old Settle the Wreckage, but I'm not in the business of playing around it. And could replace my Fiend with Plaguecrafter, makes them discard. It's probably just going to get absorbed though. I think I'll leave Plaguecrafter for when they've got a Planeswalker. This is going to be like Teferi, tap out, tick up. No, never mind. It's going to be Thought Erasure. Yeah, if it was Teferi, they'd only have 2 mana, and that's usually designated for negates as far as counters are concerned. You very, very rarely see Essence Scatters. So, Plaguecrafter was likely to resolve there. Interesting play, when they know I can make you discard with my Plaguecrafter. Fair enough. I'm still not going to play my Plaguecrafter though. I suppose that as cantering, because I've got nothing better to do and it adds to the graveyard. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing to do anyway, but there you are. Alright, swing for 4. Now that we've got the spare Plaguecrafter, I'm going to try and trade up with my Footlight Fiend. It's probably going to get absorbed, yeah. But better getting that absorbed than a really powerful creature later down the line. But this one's still very much for Planeswalkers alone. 3 cards in the graveyard, 4 now. So, need 7 for the Search for Azcanta. As to Fairy.
I am not going to sit this.
As Planeswalkers go, couldn't care less about that one.
Don't worry, I got this.
Do you? Do you got this? Alright, swing at my opponent. Play Priest. Play Plaguecrafter. Trade up on my Footlight Fiend and kill Teferi. Alright. See if we can dodge a board wipe. We need to dodge a board wipe this turn, and then an Aristocrat would keep me alive. Just the cast down. And there's the Celebrant. Alright, so Kaya's Wrath, not really an option anymore. Unless they've got a counterspell. Fair enough. Guess maybe I should have swung first. And I think that's, yep, that's now the flip on Azcanta. Could be real bad. Could be fine. Yeah, we hit lands, which means we're going to lose now. Every time it comes close to the end, my opponent looks like they're about to turn the corner, I enter flood mode and start drawing lots of lands. It's just the norm at this point. So now 2 mana removal spell. Oh, Mastermind's Acquisition. Could also be pretty bad. We're going to pass, holding an unknown in our hand. They need to answer the entire board state, so they need land, Masterminds for Kaya's Wrath, play Kaya's Wrath. And they don't have the mana for Kaya's Wrath anymore. They could go get, I suppose, Golden Demise or the other one, Cry the Carnarium. Okay. There's Gutter Bones. A constant threat, near constant anyway. Now needs answering. That's a temporary answer. The minus on Gutter Bones to bounce it. Midnight Reaper. Alright, so go with the one he knows. And drop down an extra threat. Now needs to answer both of them. If he answers them with anything except for bounce or exile. Then we would have drawn. Perfect answers, they are tiring.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Other Teferi.
I can take longer. We need to move quickly.
Get to take him to 1, potentially. I'm not attacking the Planeswalkers since that gains them life. Oh. Oh, that's so nice. Alright, let's swing first. To bait out whatever he's got here. Yeah, still has Absorb mana open. And obviously he's got it. Just name what the best card there was that they could top deck there. Because I think it's Kaya.
That's what I do to see me.
Except for they didn't hit Gutter Bones, so punt.
Hold that thought.
Now they're at 5, gaining life every single turn. I'm going to scoop this up because
Nothing.
I just can't handle perfection like this when I'm drawing lands. Next game. Alrighty then, 2 lands, and a lot of 3 drops unfortunately, but not Gutter Bones. We need a land and this is good and we're on the draw, so yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think a better man than me would mulligan, but I'm terrible, so gonna keep it. Hope for the best. It's mono red. Woo. And, well, my best is good enough. Alright, shock in for the Gutter Bones. Isolated Chapel means we got the Celebrant online. Can follow that up with the Midnight Reaper, perhaps. Depends on if we get any kind of sacrifice options here, because then Mayhem Devils might be better. Even as 3 toughness creatures, it's also pretty good. Wow. Killing the tapped creature to get in for 1. We're in for a hell of a match. Okay, well, just kind of do the same. Let's play the Celebrant. If my opponent attacks a tapped creature, then they're going to attack a untapped one and get drained. I'm happy for that to happen. Then we get to drop down Midnight Reaper. Or if they... It looks like they've run out all of their burn spells. Oh, mono red. Oh, mono red. Shame on you. The shame is real. This could be a greed play, maybe. Going with the Steamkin because they want to pump it up. Risk factor. I will take the damage. I will take the damage. Judith is good. Alright, let's do Gutter Bones and Judith. And yep, swing for 4. Cool. Another Steamkin, sure. And last card is another Steamkin. Also sure. Got nothing to discard with the risk factor, so if they're getting with that 4/4 Steamkin, I'm just going to double block, I think. Block and block. There's a lot of pinging, a lot of life gain here. I get to wipe their board because of these triggers right here. Get to distribute 4 points. 1, 2... Actually, it was 2 points because of the thingy. Swing like that. This thing can block, can't it? Yes. That's why it comes into play tapped. Excuse me, I was winning against the terrible red deck player. Bring that back now. Oh no, he's gonna win and he doesn't deserve it. Oh, Magic Arena. Oh. We're back in and things are happening and I heard noises. Alright, I think I dealt the damage because Gutter Bones is doing a thing. Alright. Good, we're back in. 1 card. Is it discard fodder for risk factor? It is. Ooh. Yeah, I'll take the action. Good survive. I double block. Okay. Let's do land, devil. Do we play Crafter the Gutter Bones first? Or do we swing first? I think we swing first. Because I can do Gutter Bones Reaver if they block. Alright, well, you lose. Yeah, sack, 4 triggers. Whee! Sure. Almost got ruined by the game there. But we brought it back to victory. Alright, well that's gonna do it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this particular deck. I was quite surprised by how good this deck ended up being. We did whiff on a few matchups though along the way. Didn't really see our Bontu or our Liliana as much as maybe I would have liked to, but overall I think the deck's been performing quite nicely. I think this is something you can bring into ranked, at least play up into the gold platinum area. It's definitely, I think, a competitor in that regard. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you have any comments about suggestions for the deck or anything like that, leave them down in the comment section below. Other than that, though, helps me out a great deal if you hit that like button and subscribe as well for more content like this in the future. The bell icon as well is very important if you want to get notifications when I go live in the future. Other than that, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.